They called Dunedin the most Scottish place in the world outside Scotland itself. And it was a most loyal welcome to the Queen, whose mother is a daughter of Scotland, that was given by the warm-hearted people of this city. Her Majesty and the Duke stayed at the Grand Hotel, from whose balcony they acknowledged the cheers. No room here for doubt that the folks have their roots in Scotland. The statue of Robbie Burns underlines it. The Queen and Duke were now on the beautiful South Island, with much to do in their short visit. The first rain of the trip south fell as they came to Invernay Agricultural Research Station, where aerial top dressing was in progress, all part of the experimental program to improve the pasture. The beauty and grandeur of South Island are not far away from Dunedin. Milford Sound and Bowen Falls are part of the tourist attractions in which the land is so rich. Here was a New Zealander certain of a place in history, the conqueror of Everest, Sir Edmund Hillary. For this great man, no resting on his laurels. On Mount Cook, highest peak in the southern Alps, he's in training for another expedition in the Himalayas. Flying north to Christchurch, the royal visitors passed the great mountain of more than 12,000 feet. Up there is the largest glacier in New Zealand, the Tasman, 18 miles long. No place these southern Alps for a forced landing. They boast 17 peaks higher than 10,000 feet. Small wonder the Maoris have an expressive name for these impressive heights. They call them cloud piercers. A short flight of about 250 miles brought the Queen and her husband northwards to Christchurch. The airport was crowded with sightseers as the royal aircraft landed. Her Majesty was welcomed to South Island's largest city by the Prime Minister, Mr. Holyoake. Life proceeds at a calm pace in Christchurch, whose Avon River, placid and shallow, flows as peacefully as the Avon at Stratford. On its restful banks, the people relax in their leisure time. And in the city's outskirts, there's plenty of evidence of gracious living. It's midsummer down there with the temperature up in the 80s. If we envy them, who'll blame us? The more pictures one sees of this colourful land, the plainer it becomes that the 2.5 million people of New Zealand are well blessed. For Christchurch, the days of the Queen's visit were a royal time. And for all so inclined, there was a race meeting at Riccarton, New Zealand's most fashionable course. It was the perfect entertainment and relaxation for Her Majesty. Racing is racing all the world over, and it must have seemed almost like home. Pathy cameraman Pat Whittaker could have imagined himself at home also. Lens trained onto the paddock where 22 horses paraded before the running of the Queen Elizabeth II handicap. 5-year-old Windvale Lad was making a bid for royal attention with the owner's colours of Royal Stuart Tartan. The Queen took her place in the 5-shilling stand in time to see the runners packed into the American-type gate. It makes for a less exciting start, but perhaps a fairer one. And there they go on the mile-and-a-half race, worth a gold cup and £2,450 to the winner. It's a grand race as they come into the straight 2 furlongs out, and the leader's still fighting it out. In front is the 7-year-old Irrepressible with Moy hard on his heels. Jockey Henderson takes Moy to the front. Saibo comes up just behind. So at the finish, it's Moy first, Saibo second, Irrepressible third. You couldn't want a better finish than that. As the runners came off the course, the Queen and Duke left the stand to have a look at the winner. To the winning owner, Mr. W.M. Angus, the Queen presented the Gold Cup. A big day for Mr. Angus, and let nobody forget the horse that won it for him, the gallant Moy. But it was now goodbye to New Zealand and on to Australia. To Canberra, capital of the continent, the royal visitors went by air to begin their 5-week tour of the Great Dominion. Another crowded program ahead of them. At the Royal Australian Air Force Base at Fairbairn, the Queen and her husband came down from the Qantas Boeing airliner. First to greet her was the Governor-General, Lord Delisle. The Governor-General's daughter, the Honourable Catherine Sidney, shook hands, followed by the Prime Minister and Dame Patty Menzies. It was Dame Patty who graciously lent the Queen her umbrella while Her Majesty went to inspect the Guard of Honour. Before leaving Fairbairn, the Queen said goodbye to the crew of the aircraft in which she flew from Christchurch. Before she and Prince Philip leave Australia, they will have nearly 6,000 miles more flying, as well as 3,400 miles at sea in the Royal Yacht. The arrival ceremony is completed, there remained the drive into Canberra. This capital city, seat of the federal government of Australia, now has a population of 70,000. Canberra is spaciously planned as becomes a new capital. The main event was scheduled for that evening, the reception at the floodlit Parliament House. Her Majesty was indeed a radiant figure in her gown of white satin and wearing an emerald and diamond tiara and necklace. Legislators were in their places. What a splendid ceremony to mark the jubilee of Australia's capital city.
Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hooray! Hip, hooray!
I want to send greetings to all Australians, and particularly to those we shall not be able to see on this occasion. Thank you again, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. McEwen, and Mr. Cornwall for your kind words this evening. I pray that Australia will continue to prosper in a happy and peaceful future.